Hello. Hello.
Are there just 4 people?
No,
5?
6.
Oh, okay.
I have a Tootsie Roll in my mouth.
Daddy, they can see you guys, so you guys have to go up.
Turn the laptop. Go and throw it right now, the trash. You cannot eat it dirty. Go and throw it in the trash right now. I told you do not run around and eat it. You don't listen. Kali sir, all full of oil, all the coronavirus is going to enter me. Now you don't do it.
Hello.
I have a Tootsie Roll in my mouth.
Oh, okay.
Don't ask why I'm sucking on it. Hi, y'all.
Oh, chat is on? Cool.
Why do we not need a password? Hi. Why do we not need a password? I don't think we needed a password for that. No. Yeah, we do.
Nigel.
Who are those people? Wait. Wait, that picture that Miss Fortune has, I think I see. I see you. I see me. And I see you too. I don't think I'm there. I see you, Adam. Adam, Ori, Carissa, Owen, Danny, I think Svea.
Joey. Joey, Owen.
And Brayden. Too shy. Can I have an apple? Too shy. Can I have an apple? Too shy. Apple, please. No.
Hey, good.
My area. Out of the edges. Out of the edges for breakfast. Hi, Yoey.
Can everybody still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You muted.
I know.
You're muted, and Chris is muted, Ada's muted, and Sam is muted.
Unmute.
Oh, muted. I just did, you know. Guys, I have two different earrings.
Owen Jershly, your haircut looks really great. I like that. Okay, you want to mute? Okay.
There's 15 people right now.
I need that stop. Don't.
Everything is wonky. Nora,
Is Miles here?
I'm wearing two different earrings. You didn't. Here's my pink hoop and here's my blue hoop. Why is the chat still going? Because Miss Fortune's gonna like. Fine now. 18 people. Well, 18 screens. Not yet.
Professor Trelawney.
Owen. But I have.
Mama, look it.
It's electric.
Last one is for you.
But
Mouse coming upstairs, guys.
Which one?
I'm not gonna plug it into the amplifier right now.
At the picture. Yeah, wait.
I'm on.
Is Nigel here? I want Nigel to be nice. I want Nigel to be nice.
They did something wrong.
How did you do that, Alina?
I know how to do it.
Owen,
Can't though.
Owen, look at this.
I changed it so that they could only.
I know.
I didn't do anything. The computer's just kind
Everyone froze.
the virtual background on my computer is just not working. So I didn't do it on purpose. It just happened.
I can do it on my computer.
I know. I don't know how it does it, but it just happens because my computer is really old, so it doesn't work. So the virtual background doesn't work. So this is how it turns out.
Can we stop doing virtual background?
Please stop doing virtual background. Someone read a message.
Hey guys.
Is Miss Fortune here?
I'm here. Hello. Can you see me?
Wow.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, good.
We can hear you.
Great. Let's
It's not working anymore. Oh yeah. So behind her, I'll have to get it later. Oh yeah.
Man, are you okay? ¿Lo quieres este? ¿Cuál quieres?
Miss Fortune, do you know
Yeah.
you can choose if you're talking to you or to everyone?
Hold on there a second, Mr. Alden.
Okay, Alden had a question, but I couldn't quite hear him because everybody was talking. Go ahead, Alden.
What you can do is in the chat, you can choose if you're like talking to you or to everyone.
Yes. Now, I've tried to have it set so those are your only choices. Is that what it looks like on your end?
Yeah.
So you can choose to send me a message, or you can choose to send one to the whole group if you want.
Yeah.
I thought I'd try that out today and see how that works for us. Does that sound good to you?
Wait a second.
Cool.
Huh?
Okay, just about everybody's here. So I think we'll go ahead and get started. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. Yeah, Andres, you are coming through, but not very loudly. Is your microphone working?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Because I could see that you were saying something and I could hear a little bit of it. Okay. How do I sound? Robot-y or not robot-y?
Not robot-y.
Excellent. Good.
No robot.
No robot.
I'm thrilled because I'm using my new computer. Hi, Laura.
We lost you. Oh gosh.
Okay, I'm gonna put everybody back on mute.
No, I know.
Okay, and go ahead and get started. So we are on chapter 16. So we left off with, oh, I forgot, we learned a magic trick yesterday. Did anybody try it? With the stick and the string? Ooh, Sama tried it. Hold on, Sama. Clicking, clicking. Oh. Sama, can you unmute yourself?
Okay.
Yeah, tell me how the magic trick went.
I sort of did it. The second time, it went like a little opposite. It went the opposite way.
Oh.
And the first time it worked good.
Okay.
Mrs. Fortune.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to try it, but when you read it, I couldn't quite understand what was happening.
Ah, okay. Okay. So, you're supposed to wear a shirt with buttons,
Mom.
right? And you're supposed to tie your thread to the button of your shirt and tie the other end of the thread to the stick. Okay, Alina, I'll explain it to you later if you're interested, okay?
Okay.
Nora, did you try it?
Well, we didn't have any rings that were unvaluable, so we just got embroidery thread, attached it to Morgan's button, got we got a drum mallet and we attached it to it, and then Morgan danced, and like it was like we moving it with his mind, but instead of a ring, it was a drum mallet.
Very fun. Okay.
Dance by like dancing.
I'm glad you didn't try it with any valuable rings. That would not be a good idea. Yeah. So it sounds like you had plenty of fun. Anyway, good deal. Did anybody else give it a try? No? Okay. All right. Okay. So where we left off with the kids was Lila and Carter are in the hotel, in the resort, in Vasso's suite, I guess. And they had been searching for their belongings, and what they found was a giant fake diamond. So we think they're going to try to steal the real diamond and replace it with the fake one. That's what we thought when we left off yesterday. Chapter 16. After meeting in the lobby of the resort's main hall, Carter, Lila, Theo, and Ridley raced all the way down the hill to Vernon's magic shop. They didn't stop for so much as a breath of air. After they rushed through the door, Lila slammed the door shut. Abracadabra, Presto squawked. Carter and Theo fell to the floor, panting for breath. Ridley leaned back in her wheelchair and fanned herself. Dad, Basso, thief, steal, diamond, tonight, Lila wheezed. The wheezing made me cough. Slow down, Mr. Vernon said, coming out from behind the counter. Take a deep breath and start over. The four misfits did just that. They started with their stakeout at the pool and everything Carter and Lila had discovered in Basso's locked bedroom. The entire time, Mr. Vernon remained calm and collected. When they were done, he took a deep breath himself and said, well, that's disappointing of Bobby. Who's Bobby? Carter asked. Never mind, Mr. Vernon said, perturbed. Let's focus on one thing at a time. I told you that I would never condone what you four spent the afternoon doing. Lila spoke up, but I thought you said, regardless, you are armed with information that I am sure local law enforcement would like to know. Perhaps you would like to call and inform them? Well, I would, but we can't, Lila went on. Sheriff Shaw is on Basso's payroll, Ridley added. We saw Basso pay him off, Carter continued. It looks like we're on our own, Theo finished. On my own? I wish, Ollie said, waving his thumb at his sister. This one's always following me. Following you? Izzy laughed. I came out first. You've been following me around since we left Mom's womb. Ollie, Izzy, where did you come from? Lila cried. We wanted to see how things turned out, so we trailed you. You took off so fast, we didn't have a chance to ask if you liked our two-man show, Ollie said. Two-man show? You mean one woman, one boy show, Izzy smirked. I see your numbers have grown, Mr. Vernon smiled. He seemed surprisingly calm, maybe even too calm. You're practically an army now. It appears none of you are on your own. You remind me of my own friends when I was your age. We were unstoppable. What are you going to do, Dad? Lila asked. Me? I'm going to go watch the show, of course. Mr. Vernon said, it's important for magicians to watch other magicians. That's how we learn. That's it? Carter asked. What are you going to do about the diamond? Me? Mr. Vernon asked. I thought you were going to do something about it. We are, Ridley said. We have a plan. You do? Pray tell. Well, I think the four of us, Ridley started. 6 of us, Ollie and Izzy interrupted. Fine, the 6 of us will stop Basso. As for the how, Ridley paused. Her chest sank as if she were suddenly losing steam. Well, I guess we only have the concept of an idea of a plan. Well, a well-executed show must be well thought out, well ahead of time, Mr. Vernon grinned. Plan carefully. No one likes a sloppy show. Feel free to use whatever you want from the shop, of course. What is mine is Lila's, and what is Lila's is yours. But aren't you going to help us? Carter asked, shocked by Mr. Vernon's carelessness. I will be helping in my own way. After all, I trust that you 6 have things well in hand, Mr. Vernon said, picking up his top hat and cape. There are leftovers in the fridge. Help yourselves. I'm going to head out for an early dinner with the other Mr. Vernon at the hotel, and then have a polite conversation with an old friend. Let's hope for the best. Either way, I suspect we'll all see a truly amazing show tonight. Mr. Vernon turned the sign on the shop door from open to closed. Come again soon. Lila, make sure to lock up when you leave. Ta-ta for now. Then with a flourish of his cape, he disappeared and the door closed all by itself. Huh, Ridley said. I was expecting him to be a little more helpful. Me too, Carter whispered. This is an awful situation to be placed in, Theo said. We're just kids. What can we do? We can do magic, Lila said. So can Basso, Ridley reminded her, and his tricks seem real. But we have one another, Lila added. And Basso has a whole gang of sideshowers and pockpickets and frown clowns, Carter replied. We're just a bunch of misfits, the parrot squawked. Rude bird, Lila said. Carter shook his head. Presto's right. The pockpickets are right. We're just a bunch of misfits. We can't do anything. Yes, we can, Lila shouted, slamming her fist on the counter. It was the first time Carter had seen Lila truly angry. Just because we're misfits doesn't mean we aren't amazing. In fact, I think being misfits makes us more amazing. Carter, you have street smarts and fast hands. I can escape from anything. Theo can make things float. Ridley is a total brainiac. And Ollie and Izzy are hilarious. Plus, they know the Grand Oak better than I do. If we work together, we can stop Basso from stealing the Star of Africa. Well, things could get sticky, Carter said. We could get into trouble. Big trouble. What's life without a little risk? Lila said firmly. But you're right. Everyone should have a chance to walk away right now. No hurt feelings. If anyone is scared or doesn't want to go up against Basso or has homework, now's the time to say something. The gang of misfits looked at one another in silence. Carter thought about the past few days. He had spent his life minding his own business, letting Uncle Sly get away with all sorts of bad things. But now he had a chance to do something, not to help himself, but to help others. I'm in, Carter said. I've got nothing to lose. Theo smiled. I have everything to lose, but this sounds like a challenge that I cannot miss. No one steals from me and gets away with it, Ridley said. What about you two? You don't have a beef with Basso? Ollie narrowed his eyes. Basso is a jerk, and that's enough beef for me. We went up to try to talk to him after the show, Izzy explained, since we're showbiz people too, you know, and all he said was, shoo flies. Then that walrus guy pushed Ollie. Ollie and Izzy both shook their heads in disgust. The only thing we hate more than a thief, started Ollie, is tomatoes, finished Izzy. Ollie glared at his sister. What? Cried Izzy. We hate tomatoes. And jerks, said Ollie. Izzy bobbed her head. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. We're in. The twins rubbed their hands together, looking like little devils, and said, so what are we going to do? Like Dad said, Lila smiled, we need a plan. For a few seconds, they stood in silence, allowing their minds to churn. We're going to need all the breakfast leftovers in the Grand Oak kitchen, said Ollie. And lots of syrup, added Izzy. We're going to need to get Carter a suit with some hidden pockets, said Ridley. Theo added, and some props from the backstage of the Grand Oak Theater. I know something we can do with the theater curtains, Lila said, grabbing a pencil and paper and marking down notes. What we need to do next, Carter said, is share our ideas and then put it all together. Build a great big trap for the reigning heavyweight clown Kingpin. And we need to act fast. We're running out of time. Okay, the next chapter, I don't know if you can see this. The next chapter, look at the number. 16 billion. Gotcha again. I'm sure you knew this was coming, right? You read the table of contents at the beginning of the book very, very carefully, didn't you? Well, I have to confess, I didn't even look at it. Let's go back. Oh, sure enough. See it? You did? Oh, good. That's all I needed to hear. Paying close attention to details is very important for a young magician. But let's hurry and check out the Grand Oak Resort with the rest of our group. Quickly now, we don't want to keep anyone waiting. Chapter 17. The Grand Oak was bustling with action when the Misfits arrived. Hundreds of people had descended on the resort to see Bosso's big final show. Maybe they'd been drawn by talk of his big top show, or maybe they were curious about the Star of Africa. The crowd was overwhelming and the lines were long. This way, Lila said, heaving her giant backpack higher on her shoulders. All of the kids had a large pack filled with everything they needed. Yes, Joey?
Also trying to steal a diamond, right?
That's what we think. Yes, Leo.
I was about to say the same thing like Joey said.
All right, great minds think alike, huh? Okay, let's get on with it and find out. We can get in using the service doors in the back. Nothing but the best for the Grand Oak's brightest upcoming stars, Ollie said sarcastically. At least our fans won't attack us for autographs, Izzy joked. Plus, we can drop by the kitchen and pick up some of the goods for our show, Ridley added. The 6 misfits made their way through the resort to the Grand Oaks Grand Theater. As they approached, Theo was the first to notice the ticket takers. Oh no, he said, we don't have tickets. Tickets, schmickets, Ollie said. Yeah, you have something better than tickets. You have us. We know this theater like the back of our hands, Izzy said. Follow us. As they passed through the corridors, Carter noticed police officers at every exit. Seeing so many of them made Carter want to vanish all over again. Inside the auditorium, the seats and curtains were all red velvet and the walls were trimmed in gold. In the left rear corner, behind a thick column, the twins led the misfits through a hidden door behind wallpaper and wood paneling. Inside the small room was a ladder leading into the ceiling and a long, narrow hallway wide enough for one person that seemed to spiral downward into darkness. Up goes to the catwalk, Izzy noted. A catwalk? Carter asked, wondering why a theater would need a place for cats to walk. It's a series of platforms that hang by cables over the stage where the crew arranges the lights and directs special effects for the performance. Oh, right, Carter answered, nodding slowly, pretending to understand. A catwalk. Down leads to the orchestra pit and under the backstage, Ollie went on with a grin. Divide and conquer again, Ridley said. Theo and I will head down to survey under the stage. Izzy, Ollie, you take Carter and Lila and head up. We'll meet you on the other side. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the chat. I'll leave it so that you can message me, okay? If you need me, you can type something to me. Otherwise, it's turned off. Where was I? As Carter followed Lila and the twins up the ladder, his palms began to sweat. He'd never been up so high. If you're afraid of heights, don't look down, Lila said back to Carter as she crawled out onto the thin hanging platform. Of course, Carter immediately looked down. Beneath them, the venue had a large balcony and seating for almost 1,000 people. From 85 feet up, all the pre-show workers below looked like miniature dolls walking about. Keep crawling forward, Carter told himself. I'm going to show you the picture because I think it'll help you. Of course, I have to be able to see myself. I think it'll help you see where they are. I think you've probably all been in a theater before where you've maybe looked up and noticed where the lights, the people that have to operate the lights, they have to go on these tiny little metal catwalks. That's what they're called. Yeah. Okay. When they got to the other side, Carter, Lila, and the Golden siblings began to remove some of the surprises they had in store for Basso from their backpacks. We'll take it from here, Izzy said. You go ahead, we'll catch up. Lila and Carter nodded. They crawled across the upper skeleton of the Great Theater. Way down in the pit, the orchestra tuned their instruments with bursts of noise. Carefully, they passed over the wires and ropes, holding up the red curtain dividing the audience from the stage. Then they crawled above the sideshowers and clowns who were setting up for Basso's big show directly below. Joey, did you have a question?
Oh, that was from
From
what?
earlier?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ava, do you have a question?
Yeah. Why do they call it a catwalk?
Well, do you have a cat? I don't
I
think
don't.
so. You just have a dog, right?
Yeah.
Ada, would you like to explain why you think it's called a catwalk? If I can unmute you, I can't seem to. There we go.
Okay. I think it's called catwalk because it's not tall. It doesn't have enough space for you to walk on it, so you have to maybe crawl like a cat.
Ooh, that's an interesting thought. Sure, maybe.
Oh, and also,
Sorry, kiddo. Go ahead.
so yesterday, since you didn't get to me, so I was gonna say this is sort of an idea like the wonderful, like related to the Wonderful Wizard of Oz. So maybe like the sheriff pays Basso to catch someone, just like the Wicked Witch of the East gets paid by a mean old woman to curse someone.
Ah, okay. Yes. Ada could not stop thinking about the story, and she emailed me later to talk more about it.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Nora, were you going to talk about the catwalk?
Yes. I think it's called a catwalk because they catch it really to their gymnastics, and it's really high and really small, and they need to be like very like is there a word for being like very gymnastical or something?
You're describing it really nicely.
Because they're
yeah, I know what you
they
mean.
have to be like really good at gymnastics or not, but like they have because you have to be like very careful, and it helps if you're good at gymnastics. Otherwise, you might fall.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there, Nora. So I think perhaps it's called a catwalk for two reasons. And you know that I'm not a cat person. I'm a dog person. I've never had a cat. But when I observe cats, I've noticed that they sometimes like to go up into high places, and that some people even create, shelving up high in their homes for the cats to walk along. They have excellent balance. They're kind of known for that. And they are silent, aren't they? So I think that when you're walking along a catwalk, if you were one of the lighting people and you're walking along a catwalk in a theater, I think you're both up high like a cat, and you are silent like a cat, and you have to have good balance like a cat. Does that sound like a good, probable explanation? I have a cat expert here, Svea. Hold on. Come on. Sometimes the buttons work and sometimes they don't. There we go.
Cats can be like a tightrope walker sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And especially my cats, they like to get up high. And when they land on their feet, it's kind of weird because sometimes when they're scared, they don't land on their feet.
Yeah.
Sometimes they knock stuff over.
Yeah. I have heard that about cats. Okay, one more. Leo.
How is Ava unmuted?
One of us got it unmuted. I'm not sure how, but here we go. I'll mute her back. Okay? Alrighty. Quietly, Lila and Carter moved toward the rear of the catwalk maze. They were about to climb down the back ladder when they heard familiar voices below. Bobby, listen to reason, Mr. Vernon said. He was speaking in a more serious tone than Carter had ever heard. If you do this and get caught, you'll go to jail. And not just for a few years this time, for the rest of your life. Carter and Lila leaned forward, just able to see Vernon and who he was talking to. B.B. Basso. What's going on? Lila whispered. How does my dad know Basso? Carter had no idea, but a sinking feeling gripped his stomach. Don't act like you care about me, Basso said scathingly to Vernon. We haven't been friends in 30 years. I disagree, Mr. Vernon said. Don't you remember the old pledge? I still believe every word. As we said in the Emerald Ring, the magic of true friends is that even apart, they can't long be cut off from what lives in the heart. Don't spout that nonsense at me. That was a lifetime ago, Basso growled. I will still consider you a friend, Bobby, even an estranged one. It wasn't just years that separated us, Basso chuckled. You always were a sentimental fool. No wonder you stayed in this wretched town. If it's so terrible, then why return? Isn't it obvious? The Star of Africa was en route to New York City as a part of its multi-city tour. I could never have stolen the diamond there, but in this half-wit town, paying off the right people was easy. As soon as I have that diamond, I'll retire. It's worth millions. I'll never have to work again. Don't do it, Bobby, Mr. Vernon pleaded. Cancel the show. We'll go get a sundae at the ice cream parlor like we did when we were kids. It's not too late. You haven't done anything wrong yet. No, not yet, Basso said with a cruel smile. He snapped his fingers. But I'm about to. The walrus and the spider lady jumped out from behind the curtain. The six-armed woman hit Vernon on the head with a slim silver baton, and the walrus threw a giant canvas sack over him. Get him ready, Basso said. He can take the fall for us. Lila grabbed her mouth to stop herself from screaming. Carter reached over, took her other hand, and squeezed. He wanted to say everything's going to be okay, but he didn't want to lie. Chapter 18. Carter and Lila scrambled down the ladder backstage. They met the others in an old prop room that Basso and his carnival crew weren't using. What's wrong? Ridley asked as soon as she saw the tears in Lila's eyes. Basso has Mr. Vernon, Carter said. What? Ollie and Izzy said at the same time. I think Basso's going to frame him, Lila guessed, hugging Ridley. They're going to make it look like my dad stole the diamond. What do we do? Theo asked. Carter thought hard before saying, we stick to the plan. Forget the plan, Carter. We have to rescue Mr. Vernon, Ridley snapped. We can do both, Carter said, a glimmer in his eye. Remember what the carnival psychic, Madame Helga, said? If you work together and stay true to one another, nothing will bar you. If we stick to the plan, we can prove Basso is the thief and Mr. Vernon goes free. It's the best way. You're going to have to trust me on this. The Misfits were hiding backstage when Basso's show began. The pop pickets opened with the same song and dance to introduce Basso, who then transformed roses into dandelions. It's the exact same show he performed at the Big Top, Ridley noted. No points for originality here. Basso went through his entire routine with gusto. Such a wonderful crowd, Basso cheered, his crooked smile the only indication that he might be hiding something. I have shown you wonders, But it is time for something else to razzle and dazzle you. I would like to introduce you to the real star of the show, the world's largest diamond, the Star of Africa. 4 security guards came out with a black metal box the size of an adult man's fist. They set it on a table next to a glass podium rising several feet over the stage. When they opened the box, an ooh ran through the massive audience. Gently, Basso picked up the diamond. A darkness twinkled in his eye. Carter recognized the look. It was pure greed. Misdirection was at play here, but Carter wasn't sure which direction he should be looking. He noticed the glass podium rising several feet over the stage. There was a mechanism in it that would make the diamond vanish. It was all explained in the book Mr. Vernon had given him. Found in 1905, the Cullinan diamond was presented to King Edward VII of Great Britain on his 66th birthday, Basso said, as he placed the beautiful sparkling gem on the glass podium. It was cut into several diamonds, the largest of which is here before you, the great Star of Africa. As you can see, there is nothing quite like it. It is beyond beauty and beyond value. It is my humble honor to include it in my show today. The audience clapped, ready for more. What are you going to do? A man hollered from the middle of the audience. Carter looked over and realized that the man was Basso's own security guard, only he wasn't wearing his creepy clown makeup anymore. Why, make the diamond disappear, of course, Basso said. The security guard seemed suddenly alarmed. Don't worry, I'll put it back. Everyone laughed, everyone except the misfits. Now, I'd like everyone in the audience to keep their eyes on the Star of Africa. Basso said, don't look away. Focus, focus. Basso pulled out a purple sheet and threw it over the diamond, only for a second. He pulled the sheet back, and the diamond was gone. Where is it? Basso smiled. Why, all around you, of course. Look up and see the diamond dust. Silver glitter sprinkled down over the audience. Now, as much as I would like you all to keep it, I suppose I must bring it back. Basso rubbed his hands together. Count with me, friends. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. There was a blast of flame and smoke from the podium, and the diamond appeared again, a spotlight striking it. Rainbow reflections exploded across the stage. The audience gasped and then broke into another thunderous round of applause. Guards, I suppose you'll be wanting this back, Basso said. The 4 security guards walked toward the diamond. Carter squinted and noticed that some of the luster of the diamond was gone. This wasn't the real Star of Africa. This was the fake. The real diamond had been switched out during the act, just as the misfits suspected. Carter knew what he had to do. Suddenly, the lights in the entire theater went out, and the world was plunged into darkness. Guards! Police! Basso yelled in the pitch black. Someone is stealing the diamond! Seal the doors, bar the exits, let no one leave. Wait! I have him! The sounds of a struggle echoed from the stage. There was a crash of breaking glass. People gasped in fear and excitement. We have him! Basso roared. Conveniently, the lights came back on. Basso, the walrus, and the spider lady were holding a struggling Mr. Vernon face down on the stage. The fake diamond was on the floor mere feet away. We have the culprit in custody, Basso said to the crowd. Police, arrest this man. He tried to steal the Star of Africa. Basso, out of breath, raised his hands to the crowd. Well, I hadn't expected that ending to my show. But who doesn't like a little added excitement? Crisis averted, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to you, the spider lady said. You're a hero. You stopped that wild man. The audience cheered with approval. Basso bowed as people stood clapping harder. I am humbled and honored, Basso said, taking another bow. Thank you, thank you. Without inspecting it properly, the guards shoved the diamond into its black case and locked it tight. Several policemen led Mr. Vernon off stage in handcuffs. The show's not over yet, Carter whispered to the others. Let's get the real show started. Okay, I can read one more. Chapter 19. Let's hear it for our hero, B.B. Basso, Ollie and Izzy said as they strolled out onto the stage behind Basso. Basso seemed confused. He looked to the walrus and the spider lady, but both of them just shrugged, just as puzzled as he was. Come on, keep on clapping, Ollie shouted to the crowd. That's right, Izzy said. Give our hero a warm welcome. Welcome, Ollie said, but the show's over. Is it? Izzy asked, scratching her head. I could have sworn the show was just beginning. I wouldn't mind that at all, Ollie said. Who wants more? The crowd cheered as Basso's fake smile began to crumble. The walrus growled at Ollie and the spider lady glared at Izzy, but neither of them could do anything in front of the crowd. They backed toward the edges of the stage. What's wrong, Basso? You look worried, Izzy said. Surely you don't want to disappoint your fans. Of course not, Basso stuttered. He's not worried, Ollie said, poking Basso in the belly. He's just hungry. I'd be hungry too after a show like that. I could use a bite to eat myself, Izzy said, taking Basso's hand and leading him to the center of the stage. Then she pulled out an umbrella and opened it. But I'm worried about the weather. It looks cloudy with a chance of breakfast. Ollie pulled a cord. Heaps of cold eggs, bacon, oatmeal, and bagels showered Basso. Maple syrup dripped from above, covering him. Assuming this was part of the show, the crowd roared with laughter. Basso's face turned red under all the oatmeal. He glanced toward the walrus and the spider lady, but they were too busy looking around the auditorium for another way out. Ollie leaned toward the crowd and bit his finger. Oops! What a perfectly dreadful waste of a good meal. Looks like someone has egg on their face, Izzy added. That's our cue, Carter said to the others behind the curtain. Are you ready? Ridley, Theo, and Lila nodded. Theo, in his tuxedo, escorted Lila and Ridley, both in beautiful matching silver sequin dresses, out onto the stage. They tiptoed and wheeled around the spilled breakfast and Basso to the front of the stage. Theo produced his violin from his jacket and a bow from his pocket. Not his magic bow, but a regular one. I'd like to play a tune of thanks for our hero, B.B. Basso. Theo's jaunty melody filled the air as Lila grabbed Ollie and Izzy and began a line dance. They tried to get Basso to dance with them, but he refused, fuming. The twins spun Lila off to one side of the stage, where she rolled into the curtain, wrapping herself in it like a mummy. But when her form unrolled, it was no longer Lila. It was Carter. Ridley held up a sign that said, applause. The audience obliged again. Where am I? Carter asked the audience. He stumbled away from the curtain in his own magician's suit, top hat, and cape. The audience clapped and laughed in response. Oh, I'm on stage, but I have terrible stage fright. He gave a sly wink to the enormous villain. You, Basso growled. Me, Carter smirked, directing his performance toward the audience. Basso and I are old friends, you see. He once offered to take me under his wing. Such a generous man. Basso's face was the color of angry strawberries. The walrus and the spider lady had tried to sneak away, but Ollie and Izzy guided them back to center stage with Basso. I'm going to murder you, Basso whispered so that only Carter could hear. Did you hear that, folks? Carter shouted. Basso wants to make me vanish, just like he did that diamond. He should know by now, vanishing is my skill. Carter climbed onto the glass podium and bowed for the audience. When he took off his top hat, 2 white doves flew over the crowd. Ridley tossed the purple sheet into the air, letting it drape over Carter. By the time the sheet touched the podium, Carter was gone. How did Carter vanish? Simple. The same way Basso made the diamond vanish using a drop mechanism hidden within the glass podium. When Carter stepped onto the podium, he activated its lever and fell through a secret chute. Like a super fast elevator, he moved from the stage to below the stage, with the sheet hiding his escape. As soon as Carter found his footing, he saw the tattooed baby at the master light switch and the pock pickets with the real star of Africa. "Put the diamond down," Carter said. "Back for more, we see, we see. You cannot escape, you cannot flee. It's that kid, it's that brat. Let's all trap him like a rat," the singers sang. "Did you prepare that verse just in case I showed up?" Carter shivered. "That is pretty creepy." The pock pickets snarled. As the thieving quartet ran at Carter, he pulled a handful of marbles from his pockets and threw them on the floor. The pock pickets slipped and slid, slamming into one another as they flipped into the air. As soon as they hit the ground, Carter leapt on top of them. He pulled 4 sets of handcuffs from his jacket. With his fast hands, he locked one singer's wrist to another's ankle over and over until the barbershop quartet couldn't move. "We're supposed to guard Basso's treasure, and now we'll be the source of his displeasure," they sang. "Let us go." "How about no?" Carter sang back. The tattooed baby pulled off his shirt and flexed his muscles. He ran at Carter. Carter stepped to the side just at the last moment and let the baby run straight into the wall, knocking himself out. "Baby needed a nap," Carter quipped, proud of himself. Carter grabbed the diamond and hid it in his top hat. Then he hopped on the elevator mechanism and hit the lever to shoot him back up to the stage. A flash of fire and a poof of smoke hid his re-entry. Carter now stood on the podium. Ollie and Izzy were dancing in circles around a fuming Basso as Theo played his violin for the audience. Ridley again held up her sign saying, "Applause." Carter bowed for the audience, who cheered and whistled. Then he turned, bowing just for Basso. When he did, he took off his top hat, letting Basso see what he had inside. "You want the real star of Africa?" Carter whispered so that only Basso could hear. "Come and get it." Then he ran to the curtain, wrapped himself up in it, and as the form uncurled, Lila popped out. "Hello again," she said. "After that boy," Basso roared, waving for his sideshow goons to follow. Yes, Leo?
Who said Basso was the murderer?
Basso's mad at Carter. So he said, "I'm going to murder you." That's a mean thing to say to someone, huh? But he's a bad guy, so he says things like that, I guess. Yes, Andres?
Murder means kill.
Yes, it does. It's a terrible thing to say to someone. Okay. Carter was backstage. As the villains closed in on him, he pulled a sword out of his sleeve. He hooked his foot into the loop of 2 ropes marked with a pink bow. He cut the second rope, and as several sandbags sped down, Carter flew up. "Ta-ta," he waved to the villains. "Get him," Basso growled, climbing up the nearest ladder. The walrus went after him, but the spider lady climbed straight up the rope. They all careened across the catwalks. The spider lady nearly had Carter, but he pulled 2 decks of cards from his pocket and shot all 104 cards at her. When she tried to run after him, she slipped on the cards and nearly tumbled over the railing. The walrus pulled her upright, then lunged forward, but Carter dodged, leaping to another platform. Rounding a corner, Basso reached out and snatched Carter's top hat. When he looked inside, it was empty. Now you see it, Carter said, holding up the diamond in one hand. Now you don't. With his other hand, he made it disappear. Basso, the walrus, and the spider lady had convened on Carter's catwalk. They bolted at him, hands outstretched, ready to grab him, but Carter clasped another rope that carried him gently down to the backstage below. Basso screamed in fury, "After him!" As Carter ran, he could hear his friends at the front of the stage, putting on what sounded like a fantastic show. Theo's music, Ollie's and Izzy's dancing, and the audience's laughter buoyed his heart. "This has to work," he whispered to himself. Now backstage, Basso and his goons were sliding down poles from above. The walrus landed in front of Carter with Basso behind him. Carter ran to the side, through another layer of curtains, and another and another. He jumped through a canvas painted to look like a brick wall, then ran into a real wall. Basso was almost on him. Carter turned, ran down a short hall that made a left turn, then another left turn, then a left turn again. He came to a dead end. He turned to the side and ran through a door. It was a props closet, and there was nowhere else to go. "No!" Carter shouted. He was trapped. And that is where I must stop for today. Cliffhanger, cliffhanger, cliffhanger. One question, Alina.
What's a goon?
It's the name that the author is using that name for the bad guys. There's lots of different slang terms for bad guys, and that's one of them. Rashawn, to answer your question, we are on page 224, and the last page of the book is 253, so we're 30 pages away. Okay, before I unmute you, I wanted to let you know I wasn't able, because I was working on some other things this morning, I wasn't able to add more lessons to Google Classroom yet, but I'm going to do that later today. But what I did add was a video. I wonder if I could actually show it to you. Let me try to show you here if I share my screen. Oh, look at that. Okay. So can you see our Google Classroom right now? Yeah? Can somebody give me a thumbs up and let me know if they're looking at the Google Classroom? Great. Okay. So if you go to your stream or to the classwork, either one, you will see how to turn in an assignment. And if you click on that, there is a video here. So if anybody was having trouble figuring out how to upload their work in Google Classroom, you can go to that video and watch it. It's 3 minutes. It's not going to take very long. You might want to have your folks watch it with you so they can see how to do it, because they're going to have to help you. Okay? Okay. So I will unmute everybody and let you talk.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
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 Bye. See you tomorrow.
Everybody, bye everybody, bye
See you
everybody,
tomorrow,
bye everybody, 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 bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Stop repeating the same thing over and over again. Just say bye to everybody.
Bye.
Bye. It's annoying.
Bye everybody.
Bye.
Full
See
screen.
you guys later.
Meeting.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye. See you tomorrow at Read Aloud.
Okay, I'm gonna close it down, guys. We'll see you. Jazzy, how are you? You good? Yeah, good to see you. Are you liking this book? Yeah, okay. I'm sorry there's so much singing.
We love the singing.
I'm kind of tired of the singing part of this book. All right, I'll shut it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you guys tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.